Assassins, and welcome to episode 5 of Rally the Creed Live. I'm Col, community admin for the ones who came before, and I'm also one of the community ambassadors for Assassin's Creed here in the UK. Rally the Creed Live is a variation of the Rally the Creed podcast, which we set up in lockdown, and it's taken 3 different lifespan changes. It's sort of gone from becoming like a one-person show to moving across to 4 different hosts across the world, and it's now done on TikTok Live, which is our new platform. So we're doing our best with it. We're trying to be more consistent, and each week we get a few more assassins here in the chat, and we're also getting new guests on every week. So massive thank you to everyone who's joining us this evening. So my guest today is Laury Runs, who's a member of the ones who came before, and she's on our video content creation team. So welcome, Laury.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome. So I wonder if you could start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, your Assassin's Creed journey, the other games you're playing, because it's not just Assassin's Creed, and also how you got into streaming. So let's start off by going into your streaming journey.
My streaming journey was actually when I was not employed anymore, but I started my own business, and all of a sudden I had a very, very different schedule that actually enabled me to be more flexible and to actually spend more time playing all the games that I've always wanted to play. So yeah, I just started streaming because I always love to be connected to a community and just be talking about the games that I play. Since I generally like story-driven games, I love to get into the lore and the background stories and the icebergs of basically any game, if there is one. And so yeah, that's how I got into streaming. Yeah.
Very good. And what sort of games do you cover other than Assassin's Creed? Because obviously that's the one we know you for here in the AC community, but what other games are you currently covering or have done in the past?
Right. Well, definitely all of the Assassin's Creed games. I started playing them since I think it was like mid-school. So yeah, and then over the time, I'm a big sci-fi fan. Sometimes a little bit of fantasy, but I definitely prefer sci-fi. So at the moment, I'm at my first Mass Effect trilogy playthrough, and I'm absolutely loving it. But yeah, just generally, I love to play story-driven games. I also love Fallout 4 is a game I continually go back to. Yeah, Horizon's coming up. Cyberpunk 2077 is on the list. Although I need to wait to have a better setup to be able to handle the graphics. So yeah, it's on the list.
So I've got 2 questions from that. So first of all, you said about flexibility in your job. What is it you do? And secondly, what platform do you play on?
Right, I play on Twitch. And I sometimes if I do a full gameplay, like for example now with Mass Effect, I also edit the videos and put them up on YouTube.
That's cool.
And yeah, so flexibility wise, I am a copywriter and a ghostwriter, which means I write texts for other companies. I make their websites. I help them with their branding and overall public communications. And I do book projects. So I do have
Wow.
deadlines, but despite of that, I basically get to work whenever I feel like it during the day.
That's amazing. That's like the dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so with that, can you pick your own hours and everything? So you say anytime during the day, could you literally, as long as the work's done, you can just pick and choose your working hours as long as the deadline's met?
Right, yeah. So it's really just the deadlines that I have to stick to, obviously. But other than that, I am very flexible in like, do I want like 4 long days throughout the week and have a long weekend, or do I just want to do a little bit every day? Sometimes I do work through the weekends, but then also I get to take off like a Tuesday or a Wednesday if I need to. So yeah, I really love the flexibility.
That's really cool. So massive thank you for joining us tonight. And I also wanted to go into the bit of the time zone difference. So am I right in thinking you're in Germany?
Correct. Yes, we're
Nice.
1 hour ahead, I think.
Cool. So for you, it's about 11:15 at night.
True. Yeah, but that's all right. I'm probably gonna game through the night because I'm
Nice.
I'm on a major Dune Awakening grind at the moment.
I'm glad you mentioned that, gaming through the night, because I wanted to get into your recent 24-hour streams. So this is something that's really unusual in the Assassin's Creed community. You're a live streamer who can go 24 hours, maybe with one break or two break, like splitting it up, but you can play 24 hours of gaming. That's so cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, like to be exact, it was more like 21 hours. But those 21 hours, literally, I was gaming through the entire time. I didn't really take a break. I would just
That's
snack
impressive.
something besides occasionally. I think that's when Shadows just came out. And I already had, because I had that stream scheduled, so I had to wait a week, and I knew like everybody else was already starting to play the game. So I was like so ready. I had so much motivation. Like it somehow 21 hours went by like it was nothing.
That's amazing. I think it's super impressive. And coming back to that, you recently did a 24-hour stream for the blood cancer fundraiser that we ran here at the Ones Again before. So that was incredible because I saw the lift go from about £200 in natural donations up until about £400 because you were setting yourself targets for your community to donate. And across a 24-hour period, when you break it down into maybe, I don't know, maybe £50 every few hours, and then it slowly builds up. But from me as like the person running it, it was definitely the difference between us having like a successful campaign and or like the opposite of that would be we didn't reach the target. But through your streams, it really pushed us towards that £1,000 goal, and we did hit it. So I'm really impressed that you managed to do the 24-hour stream and also get donations while doing it. And it's serious commitment, like dedicating that amount of time to a game and also in a day. So it is super impressive. And how do you prepare for a 24-hour stream?
Yeah, oh that stream was absolutely epic. I'm so grateful for all the people who contributed because it was the first time I was collecting donations for something, first time me doing a charity stream, and you don't know if people are going to show up or not. So I thought if money comes in or not, I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to be doing what I love, and if people come in and donate, that's amazing. And people have been so generous. So yeah, I'm so grateful that it went so well. But yeah, so preparations for a 24-hour stream. Um, well, the mistake I've done that day was that I basically started streaming in the evening, but I was already awake since the morning. So
Okay.
it was a 24-hour stream, but technically I was already awake for a lot longer than that. So I did have to break it into two halves, because I could literally not even read chat messages anymore.
You're just like falling asleep
Yeah,
on camera.
my brain just shut down at some point, but that's all right. Even the day after, people showed up. They were like, "Hey, did you have a good night's sleep?" And they just tuned back in, and they would like send 10, $20 donations, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, we were so lucky this year. I mean, we had a great community support behind us, obviously with the streams and everything. People were donating, and we managed to push over that £1,000 target. We also had Ubisoft support, which was really successful and helped us with the code incentives, which was really great. But yeah, with your 24-hour live streams, I wanted to get into sort of like, have you considered having like a nap up until like maybe 20 minutes before the stream and going from there? Or would that make you too tired for the stream? Is it sort of like a sleep schedule you'd use?
Well, I do schedule these 24-hour streams way ahead, so I'm trying to completely shift my rhythm, which means that like 2 or 3 nights before I would like constantly stay awake longer and then get like all the sleep that I need before the stream, whenever
That's
that would
smart.
start.
That's a good way of doing it.
Which again, I get to have that privilege because of my super flexible working hours.
It's really good. That would be ideal for me as well, like something like because I've got like the childcare. It's really difficult. So having like a job where you could choose your own hours would be like the dream. So that's really cool.
Absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
great. So also with the streams as well, I wanted to touch upon the people within your community that they follow all your games and not just Assassin's Creed. So you have like moderators, you've got people like regulars in the chat. Are any of them here with us tonight?
Well, I'm personally like not really on TikTok, as you can see on my profile. I just have like 5 or 6 reels of my cute little cats, Sherlock and Johnny, up here. Like that's literally like all I've ever done on TikTok. So I don't know, guys. If you're in chat, you can say hi because you might have like different names on there. Because on Twitch, like people just have like different nicknames and stuff, so I might not be able to recognize them. But yeah, I did give them a little info on my Discord, and some people said they're surely gonna show up. Yeah.
Very good. So with your recent live stream, I was actually working the day of it. So I managed to pop in for about an hour before work. And then 8 hours later, I managed to join again after work, and you were still going. Obviously, that's the nature of a 24-hour live stream. But I could see like the progression, the donations had gone up, the community were backing you, and then you also had to spin the wheel. So I was wondering if you could tell us a bit about that.
Oh yeah, the wheel.
So
Yeah,
good.
so I was thinking like I gotta make this more interesting than me just sitting there fighting tiredness for 24 hours and playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. I mean, that's fun enough already, but I was like, let's add something else. So basically, whenever someone would donate, I think I put the threshold at 15 euros. Yeah, I think I had in euros. Um I would have to spin the wheel of misfortune, and there was like different stuff on there. Like the first thing I remember was to eat a pickle with Nutella because I just thought that's gross. That's like almost like a truth or dare kind of thing to do or something like that. Like just something silly that has nothing to do with the game, but whatever. And everybody always like they were so keen on the wheel hitting that target. They were so keen on seeing me eating a pickle with Nutella. And luckily, actually, it never landed on that field. So still to this day, I've never eaten a pickle with Nutella and I'm not looking forward to it. But yeah, we also had some gameplay challenges on there. Like for example, to go all tanky with Nawe or to be stealthing with Yasuke.
Difficult.
Um stuff like that. Yeah, or to put off all the gear, all the extras, to make combat harder and stuff like that. So yeah, we were having a good time.
So we now know that food challenges are the way to reach our fundraising goals.
Absolutely.
Let's
Can
start to
always
do it.
rely on sadistic people on Twitch, I guess.
While we're talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows, have you completed the game?
I've not completed the game because I was so like with this game actually I have a very very bad habit of rushing through games
I'm the
because I
same.
get so immersed in the main story. So if the game rushes me to go to the main battle, I'm like, okay, yes, let's go there right now. Let's not do any side stuff. We don't have time for this. um so yeah, I'm forcing myself to take my time with Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I'm so glad I'm doing that. Because I genuinely just love running through the game. I just love the whole scenery. I love doing the side quests. There's only very few games that I've almost completed, as in like also got all the collectibles and all that stuff. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm taking
Yeah,
my time with Shadow.
I think you have to as well. It's such a huge world. There's so much to do, even with like all the side missions and stuff. It's easily 100 plus hours, especially with the DLC content they're going to add. But it's funny, I haven't actually completed Shadows myself, even though I was part of like its development in like the early stages. So like I worked along the developers and I gave like feedback and stuff. I was like heavily involved in that, but I've still not completed it because I decided to go back and play Assassin's Creed Mirage instead and complete that one, which again, another one I was like heavily involved in. But like you were saying, with like, you don't want to like rush the game and you're like guilty of it. That's something when I rush a game, it's because it's normally to prepare like a written like a review of the game. I've mentioned this in a few episodes ago, where like my bad habit is like speed running a game and like
Mm.
writing tons of notes, and then I've got the review written, and then I'm moving on to the next game. And it's almost like looking at it as like a journalist rather than a fan, even though like the reason I am like a journalist is because I'm a fan. So the two go hand in hand, but it's almost like the work comes before the play, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I wanted to avoid with that game also, which is why I haven't completely played it on stream. I would also just take my time, like 5 or 6 hour sessions just off stream, because I don't know, it's different if you're on stream and there's also not that I need to entertain people there, like I don't do that all the time. That was like a special thing for the 24-hour stream, but still you want to converse with them. That's why I stream. Like you do
Of
want
course.
to interact with the chat and the people there. Um, so it is different if you play online or offline, or like on stream or off stream, I should say.
And I feel from your streams, because I've been in a few now, is that they are always like generally like a real positive crowd turns out for it. There's a real community atmosphere there. Even if it's not Assassin's Creed, like the people who join are really positive, and there's like a great community. Do you get that sense? Like a real
Absolutely, yeah.
supportive atmosphere. I really get that when I'm in your chats.
Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, I'm so glad I seem to be attracting nice people.
Yeah.
'Cause I mean, I'm just like I'm not like getting any money from that. I'm really just doing that because I genuinely enjoy it. To be playing games and hanging out with people at the same time. That's why I'm doing that. I've just recently been talking to someone. We were both saying that the crowd on Twitch, just like the community, is just very nice, especially compared to other social platforms or streaming platforms. I feel like there's rarely ever any trolls. You do get bots occasionally, but
Yeah.
like you really get any trolls because it's more like there's very few really big streamers, but there's also a lot of these really small streamers that are really just about like a community, and people just like getting to know each other genuinely and also talking on Discord chats with each other. Like it doesn't end in Twitch chat. So yeah, definitely a really nice community there, a bunch of nice people. Definitely gained some friends there.
That's really nice. And you've also got the Discord server, which accompanies it as well, which is really cool. And I guess going back to what you said about like the small streamers on Twitch, I guess that's how we met really. Because in terms of recruitment for the ones that came before, we're not really looking for like huge celebrity status. We are looking for like passionate, small time content creators. So I guess that's how we met really. It'll have been through like Twitch streaming, and like
Right.
I believe I came across one of your streams, and you were in the early days of a Valhalla cosplay stream, and that's sort of how we got started with it.
Right, right. I remember. Yeah, I was playing Valhalla. Not my favorite Assassin's Creed game.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I also finished Valhalla on stream just a few weeks later. Um, so yeah, yeah, I remember. I think you were popping up in chat and we connected over
Yeah,
email or something. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. With recruitment, like it's sort of difficult because obviously you're never really meeting people in person, but it's sort of all done by like, it's sort of like what a job would do. Where you're doing like, I guess you call it like background checks. Like you're sort of looking if this person would fit the brand, and obviously you ticked all the boxes, and also everyone else that comes through the doors are the ones that came before. We want to bring on as many like content creators, passionate people as possible, but at the same time sort of avoid controversy and have like the right fit, if that makes sense. But you definitely brought the energy, the passion, and also like a nice positive atmosphere. So that's 100% one of the reasons why we brought you on the team. And how long have you been on the team now, would you say?
Oh, I think it's almost been a year.
Yeah, I feel like it's getting on for a year as
Yeah,
well. It's crazy how
yeah.
quickly it goes by.
I know. I was just thinking like, no, wait, that can't be. No, actually it can.
You've done so much, like so many projects, and so if I was to like sit down and list them all, there's been a ton of stuff. We've worked on like, I mean, currently we're all working together on the 11-year anniversary of the ones that came before. We've done all the fundraising and stuff. We've done charity streams, even like booting up this TikTok platform, which we didn't really have before you joined the video content creation team. Like, it was all about like bringing people together and sort of putting ourselves out there and yeah, sort of stepping outside our comfort zone as well. Because I mean, even like this Rally the Creed live, I mean, I'd never done any sort of hosting before. I'm definitely no expert at it. Like, I still get nervous for the streams, but at least I'm doing something, giving it a good go, and bringing the right people on. I mean, we always have like nice, fun discussions with people. Yeah, I mean, nice message from James. She's a genuine person, and that shows. That's really lovely.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, we're very glad to have you on the team. And I wanted sort of to steer towards Assassin's Creed because we had a poll go out this week on the ones that came before, and it was discussion. We were going to discuss the results of our social media posts. And the question, it was actually Gustav from the core team who posted this rather than the social media team, but it was a very good point. And it's sort of a difficult one to dive into because each individual answer has its own issues with it, but we'll go into that. The question was, what historical time period from Assassin's Creed would you like to live in? And we had answers from all over the scope of the games, going right back to the early games to the more modern games. So I'll read a list of each of these time periods that have been suggested, and then we'll sort of dive into them one at a time, and then you can let me know which time period you'd like to live in from Assassin's Creed. I think it's actually a really difficult question, but people were like 100% giving their honest answers, so I'll go into what we've got from the community. So quite a popular one was Renaissance and Florence and Rome. So that would obviously be in the time of Leonardo da Vinci and like you see in the Ezio games. We had ancient Greece. We had a funny one, which was modern England, healthcare and human rights. Okay. We had Cuba as romanticized in Black Flag or Syndicate London, which is really quite a contrast. They're very different time periods, and I'm not no real reasons were given for any of these like time periods. People said they just gave it, so we'll dive into that. We had 9th century Baghdad and we had ancient Egypt. So we'll start off by going into the Renaissance, Florence, and Rome. When you're playing Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, for example, have you ever thought, oh, I'd love to live in this time period?
Honestly, I loved Florence as a game setting. Absolutely. Obviously, also Ezio is the MVP.
Yeah.
But I would not want to live there. I would want to live there to be meeting Da Vinci for
That'd be
sure.
cool.
Like and like the cathedral and all, like I'd love that. But no, I don't think I would want to live there. With like, the political system, the Borgias, I mean, that you're literally assassinating throughout the games, is like not a system I would like to live in. Also like hygienic conditions and all, like
A very good point.
it does have its charm, the whole era, but it's like I would change I would choose a different one personally.
Yeah. It's funny because we got about 3 responses with that one. And now that you mention it, obviously, like the hygiene and everything, but then you think about obviously Ezio's family are killed in the town centre, like right in the middle
Yeah.
in the palazzo. There's public executions still going on. So you just be worried to put a toe out of line and then that's going to happen. I mean, obviously, their crimes were, I guess you'd call it like treason. But I mean, the people in charge, as we know, corrupt in Assassin's Creed. So there's always that worry of something happening along them lines. Like capital punishment is still around in that time. And like you say, it might not be the best for like the average person. I mean, it's great when you're an assassin and Ezio's rich as well, so he's having a great time. But it could be difficult for like the average person with all the political turmoil, like you say. So I agree. I think that would be quite a difficult one, even though it's heavily romanticized in programs like the Borgias. If you've seen that, it's a really good one.
I haven't seen it, no, but yeah, I mean I know a little bit about them historically, so that's enough for me to, as you say, like I do not want to be poor and hanged and no
Yeah.
thanks.
That's not great. So we'll move on to the next one. And this one comes up a lot, not so much in these comments, but people always say they'd love to live in ancient Greece. And I've played Odyssey, But then from the perspective of it felt like to me like an Assassin's Creed sort of spin-off where it was like a prequel before a prequel. I mean, I could go on about this all day. It maybe to me a bit of an unnecessary game where it could have been like Odyssey and Assassin's Creed Tale, which they were going to plan on. But going back to ancient Greece, I guess the interesting thing for me would be like the works of literature and the poetry and the open-minded philosophy that was around at the time. I guess that would really be developing in ancient Greece. And I guess people were starting to open their minds really on a larger scale than before. So I think that would interest me. But I'm not really sure on what life would be like for the average person in ancient Greece. I've got to imagine quite poor, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I mean what we know about like Greek history, like outside of the Assassin's Creed games is like pretty much comparable to today. But like less chances, obviously. Like the classes were more divided. Like again, if you're poor, like it's not impossible, but it's gonna be really hard to have the same education, the same chances, and the same lifestyle than like the glorious side of ancient Greece that we see with all of these huge, shiny, beautiful temples and the educated people that have like access to all of that knowledge. So yeah, well, I gotta say though, I am one of those people that love Assassin's Creed Odyssey just because it plays in ancient Greece, because I'm just a huge fan. um
In general,
I
of
was
the Greek
so
historical setting.
Yes, absolutely. Just like ancient Greece as a setting already had me hooked without me knowing anything about the game. And to this day, I think Odyssey is my favorite Assassin's Creed game. Not only
Brilliant.
because of that, obviously, but also the Atlantis DLC
Oh, yeah.
was
Good.
so good.
That is really good
Um,
for like issue lore and stuff. So it really dives into that, and even like expanding Layla's story. That was really good.
Absolutely. And me as someone who loves to deep dive into stories anyway, this was so immersive, and like I just love that whole connection to the mythical world also that we also did get a bit in Origins. Um but yeah, I absolutely like I think I would choose that one. I think I would choose ancient Greece as a setting to actually personally be living in.
That's interesting. And I think actually, I know quite a few writers from university who did like writing degrees. And I think you have to study quite a lot of the ancient Greek texts on a lot of these university courses. So I imagine if I asked a few of them, they'd probably say ancient Greece as well, purely because of like the writing and everything. And like you say, at the time, there was all them like positives, and it is seen as like a really desirable time period. Like I say, it's one of the most popular ones. And that's probably why the Assassin's Creed team chose it. They sort of went through a phase of choosing like what you'd call like the most desirable time periods, or I guess you call it like tourism, wouldn't you? You know, where they're like, right, which is like a really well-known time period that everyone likes. Oh, Vikings and oh, ancient Greece, and they sort of like ticking off boxes. Yeah, James says Rome or Japan to him, but these are another examples as well, I guess, of like less unusual and more well-known time periods as well. So I guess a lot is known about ancient Greece considering how far away it was in terms of the timeline, but because there's a lot of historical records that still exist from that time in
Right,
like
right.
libraries and stuff. So I imagine you've done a bit of research yourself into this.
I mean, generally, it was a very sophisticated era, like a lot of education, like we get so much philosophy, so much knowledge about mathematics, architecture, astronomy, like all of these things that we still feed off today, which is crazy if you think about it, especially
Yeah.
if you compare it um to the Ezio games in Florence, which play hundreds of years later, yet still civilization would not consider to be as advanced as in ancient Greece. And I think that just like brings a fascination with it. Um, yeah, I do think it's romanticized in many ways, obviously, for sure. Um, but yeah, I think like that whole fascination that brings a lot of people into the Assassin's Creed games with the Isu, the mix of history, but also that kind of ancient but also like futuristic technology elements. Um, I think the same fascination draws the people into diving into ancient Greece. And yeah.
Yeah, I think you've summed that up really well, by the way. I think you've really covered that nicely. And I guess they were very sophisticated and also like technological for their time, if that makes sense. And
Mm,
I think a lot of people believe that a lot of the advances that were made in ancient Greece were actually lost. So a lot of the things that they actually like discovered, it just sort of it was prevalent in the time period, but then it stayed there, if that makes sense. So they've lost knowledge, and there would have been like further advances had they been allowed to continue for longer. I guess that's the problem with war, for example. It sort of like destroys what came
mm.
before, and then a new civilization comes after.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know that about ancient Rome, for example. They had technologies like in our modern day and age, with the technology that we have, we can't like we still can't explain how they did certain stuff, which is crazy. Like as you say,
Yeah,
that's just lost knowledge. And surely there is an explanation for it, but if there's like centuries of knowledge eradicated, um,
it's
it does
crazy,
take
isn't it?
time to find your way back to that. So I've always had a fascination for like ancient civilizations, when it comes to that. So yeah, also with ancient Egypt, like the big question,
Yeah,
how did they build the pyramids? Like that's the
yeah.
standard thing, like that's the mainstream piece of technology right there, right?
And
Like
they
and it,
say
like
the
people don't
pyramids are
know.
like perfect, don't they? Like the pyramids like are physically lined up perfectly with the stars so that you can plot a
Right.
chart across that they're called ley lines, which are like power dynamics under the earth that the pyramids sit
Mhm.
on top of and they draw power from. So it is crazy to think that they were so precise and accurate that they managed to chart on a map exactly where is best to receive the like the best location. And also it's like in terms of like the star maps as well, they've got like the exact
Right.
location, so it's like super like to the exact like numbers and stuff. Like they can't work out how they've done like even like the
Yeah.
structuring of the pyramids, how it is so precise compared to like modern numbers and stuff. Like it is crazy really when you think about it.
Yeah, well, it certainly couldn't have been an accident. Like people back then knew what they were doing, and that just shows how advanced their knowledge was in mathematics, astronomy, and all of these things. So yeah, it's fascinating. It's so fascinating. And you just wish you could just travel back in time and ask them, like, explain this to me. How did you do that? Or like
Yeah,
all the megalithic buildings where they don't know how did they move these huge blocks of stone and how did they cut them so precisely? They didn't have lasers like we do today, or did they? Like, no one knows.
yeah. That's it. That's the thing with lost technology. So who knows? And we've had some good comments actually. So my wife is here and she says they had help from aliens. Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah, that's a very predominant theory.
that. Very good. We've had a few more as well. So going back, it's all my work colleagues in the chat. Thanks, guys. They're all supporting me. Ash says, "Oh my God, is that Call 96 from the ones that came before Assassin's Creed fan community?" Yes, it is. Thank you again. Amazing. But yeah, going on to ancient Egypt, is that somewhere you'd like to live?
Uh, I mean, the like one big thing that comes to my mind is ancient Egypt was like big thing was like slavery
I was thinking this. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, for
human
sure.
trafficking. So
Hmm.
that would definitely be something where I'd be like, I kind of want to stay away from that area, that era, unless you are in like just rich enough to be the one trading, but that's not really better, is it?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, again, I would probably not want to be living there. I remember starting the game and you can do this tour. Like it's like an open museum tour the game
Oh
gives
yeah.
you.
Discovery tour.
I was like, "Oh my goodness, that is amazing." 'Cause
Yeah.
like it kind of just lets you travel back in time and just look at everything and just learn a bunch of stuff. It's like walking through like a museum with like uh what are they called? Virtual reality
Yeah,
goggles
and
or
like
something.
interactive points as well. To you've got like the
Right.
actual bits from a museum, all the information. They've got like 3D scans of all the like cups and things. And it just what I like about it is there's no like action. It is just showing you like the everyday normal life of a civilian in these time periods. So it was
Right.
Origins and Odyssey had that, and I can't remember if Valhalla had it. But I know the Discovery Tours is cool because they've been used in like schools to teach. They've been used in the museums. They get the actual historians on board. They do like behind the scenes stuff as well, and it's really cool because it's rather than like going out and that you're traveling miles and miles. Like for me, it's like 4 or 5 hours to London to like rather than going and seeing these things in person. Before you choose to do that, I'm sure you will one day if you're really into history. But before you can do that, you can like have a look online on this version of the game and see things up
Right.
close, especially if you're really into your history.
Right. Yeah. And I like what just came to my mind is that also I think in ancient Egypt, religion was more predominant, whereas compared to ancient Greece, it was more like Gnosticism and philosophy, um, and more of like starting to evolve into that more atheist kind of mind,
Yeah.
also shaping society, shaping politics. So I think it would have been very different to also be living those those communities, in those societies.
Definitely, that's a good way of describing it. And one thing I'm thinking of as well with the ancient Egypt one is, have you seen the film The Prince of Egypt?
Yes.
Yeah, so that really shows like the difference in lifestyle because he goes from like being like royalty and obviously rich to going like to like poverty and living it out in the countryside, and it really shows like the transition from that, like the fall from grace. I mean, he commits murder
Right.
and is exiled. It's a really great film. We've seen the play as well, the musical version in London. My wife's a huge fan of it. So Prince of
Oh,
Egypt's a really
nice.
good demonstration of this.
I've been watching that movie up and down as a child. I still remember
So
the
good.
like I could just sing along with the songs right now.
Yeah, it's so good. So that's a cool way of looking at that. But also, I'm glad you mentioned the slavery aspect as well, because with these time periods, I wanted to say, like, if we're saying I wanted to live there, are we saying it like from our own personal experience? I mean, obviously, like right now, as like a British white man in Egypt, I'd probably be made like a slave, for example. But like, in terms of like, if someone said like the witch trials, for example, it wouldn't be great for females. So there's all these like cons for these time periods, even though like a lot of them are seen as like, oh, that'd be really cool to live there. Like we've named loads of reasons why it wouldn't be so great, and it really does depend on the individual during that time period, who you are, what your position is within society, how rich you are. Obviously, the poorer you are, the more difficult your life is. Even like jobs as well. Like I mean, even like a normal peasant, for example, in like Tudor England. I mean, their lives were extremely difficult. They were up at like 5 a.m. in the morning. They could be on the fields working. They literally do like 20-hour days, a couple hours sleep, and then they have to give like loads of money as well to the government. So really difficult time periods.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in every single time period, let it be like thousands of years ago up until today, in different societies, there's always at least one oppressed group,
Yeah,
let it be by gender, religion, ethnicity, or all of the above.
absolutely.
So obviously, depending on where you go and at what time, there's always certain groups that would have an advantage or disadvantage by the system that's running there.
I fully agree with this. And even if we jump into the other ones that were mentioned, we say ninth century Baghdad. So I mean, I've just completed Assassin's Creed Mirage, and there are like different elements of the city of Baghdad that are richer than others. I mean, some people clearly have like a better lifestyle than others, but when you go to the poor areas, it's similar to Assassin's Creed 1, where like there's the beggars in the street, for example, but that could be like your reality. Do you know what I mean? If you were to like snap your
Mm.
fingers and travel back in time to a time period, you might not necessarily get what you hope for, and like you could end up in like the slums, for example. And even in Baghdad, what I found in the game is that you can't really go from one area of the city to the other. So there are like guards protecting it. There's inner walls. So like you could live and die in one area of the city and never see any further than this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we talk about all these different eras, all these different times, different societies and countries and cultures, like I love to visit them. Like
Yeah.
I love to go there, see it with my own eyes, see it for myself, and like talk to these people, and like as we said, like ask them about all of that lost
Like guys.
lost knowledge and all that. But like, would I want to live there? Like that's a different thing. I think like as many things we might not like in the country we live in, and the government that rules us,
Yeah.
like we're still like comparatively we're still fine. At least I am as a woman. I probably have it way better now today here than like in Florence in the 1700s.
Yeah. That is a very good point. So another time period that was mentioned, and I think it's one of the final ones before we get more modern, it was Cuba, as seen in Assassin's Creed Black Flag. So this is quite an interesting one because more recently they've gone through obviously the political turmoil in the 1900s, the Cuban Missile Crisis. But if we're thinking about Cuba in Black Flag, that's at the time of pirates. I mean, they'd be coming in with all their goods and wares, and I mean, there could be like an average trader who is trying to ship their products from Cuba to another island, and then you get hit by pirates. Like I imagine that's a very difficult lifestyle. I mean, you don't know where's safe as well, and yeah, even in Cuba, like you see people like hanged in the street, which is something similar to what I mentioned before. Public executions was still a thing, so there's always that risk of if you mess with the wrong person, you could physically like it could end your life.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love Black Flag.
Yeah,
Um, but that might be actually the roughest era to be living in, because yeah, it was dangerous. Most people didn't have much. If you had something, you were an easy target
yeah,
to all the pirates, all the thieves. People didn't get really old, like they didn't have like proper medicine and stuff. Like health was really bad and all. Like I mean, all the people, like all the men on the ships drinking, I don't know, at least
yeah,
2 liters of rum a day, I guess.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, probably one of the roughest eras to live in, but also, I mean, again, like you can always romanticize everything. Like if you're into pirates, you're still gonna love it.
Yeah. I know what you mean, and like you say, with the like it being so dangerous as well. There's obviously the pubs, but you could literally die in a pub fight, for example, and then they just go about their business as if nothing's happened. They probably just drag you out of the way
Right.
and carry on. It's just like a normal everyday thing.
Yeah, yeah, very much.
And like sort of moving away from that and but of a similar element, someone said that they'd like to live in Syndicate's London. So this is like Victorian London, I guess anywhere between the 1800s and 1900s, so sort of in that gap. I think Assassin's Creed Syndicate takes place in 1868 and the DLC takes place in 1888. But like you mentioned before, all the waste products as well, like I mean, a disgusting sort of street life, where the I mean, they didn't really know what to do in terms of like plumbing or anything. So it was just literally thrown out the window. So you get with that all the diseases and like death. I mean, I was listening to the Sweeney Todd soundtrack this morning. That's a great film. Not sure if you've seen that one, but that's the time period.
I haven't seen the movie, no, but
Good
but yeah.
one. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
you get
mean,
the idea. Like cholera and all these diseases were rife, and people were dying. And like you said before as well about age as well, like people not really getting to old age. It's purely because of like the disease. Water was infected, didn't always have access to it. I mean, of course, there's other things as well, which you probably can't say on a uh, under 18 podcast, but there are other things going on as well at the time period, if you know what I
right.
mean. Yeah, so not make it the most desirable. You've got Jack the Ripper in 1888 as well. So I think, like we said before, it really comes back to how much money you've got as to what sort of lifestyle you've got. And Sweeney Todd, I know you've not seen it, but there's someone in that who's like a lawyer and a judge. So they're in like the big townhouse, and they throw parties and everything. Where like Sweeney himself is like literally uh, like an average person. He's like a barber, and then there's even people like on the streets, like the beggars and stuff, and you can just see like the disgusting streets of London, like. And the beginning of the film really sort of shows that it's like London is like the place where there's like it's just every single person you can think of just under one roof, just like packed together like sardines in a tin, I guess you'd say. And like I say, with the streets as well, just so dirty as well. Your lifespan wouldn't be great. So like whoever suggested this, I'm not sure if they're maybe seen like a romanticized version of Syndicate's London, because the game's so fun and everything. You don't really see. I mean, you've got the beggars that help you. They're like the eyes in Sherlock Holmes, where they're sort of running around giving you intel, but maybe it wouldn't have really been like that at the time.
Yeah, well, I really liked playing Syndicate and just like more of like the city life aspect of it. Um, but yeah, as you say, I mean, if you look at the real life, real circumstances, I mean, beginning of industrialization, right?
Yeah.
So you have all of these inventions, like everything's growing, businesses are growing. There's a bunch of people who are making a lot of money, and there's a bunch of people who have like absolutely nothing. As you say, people didn't get old, a lot of diseases, a lot of orphans, because
Yeah.
yeah, so definitely not an easy time to live in, for most people, the vast majority of people. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think you've
also,
summed that up really well. There's like you say, the wage disparity between the two, and then there's also like
mm,
the Industrial Revolution that you mentioned. But that in terms of like how much work you'd have to do, and the harder the work would become, the more the engines progressed and technology advanced, the more people would die at work, because it was purely like fatigue or even like the health conditions. It was all before
right.
like health and safety, so people would injure themselves at work and maybe never work again. They're not going to get a nice payout from the company. That is literally them in poverty now because they've hurt themselves at work. Or even if you die at work, and then, for example, your family has no way of getting money. So it's a really difficult time to be alive. And like I said, with the long working hours as well, I mean, they could go like days without seeing their family, and that's the ones who everyone goes to work for. So yeah, really difficult time to be
Yeah.
alive, I think.
Yeah, I think like probably at that time I would prefer to just live out in the country and be a farmer family. Probably I would prefer that, like not because it's easy. Like you would still have to be working so hard and all, but I would probably prefer living on the countryside, just be farming, just have my family be
Yeah.
farming, be self-providing, than living in the city that was so dirty and so dangerous. Um,
Yeah, I imagine you'd live longer doing that as well, even though it's like tough work on farms. I mean, I've been watching Clarkson's farm
absolutely.
recently. Like, modern farming's obviously a lot easier than what it was in the past, but it's still a very difficult lifestyle. I mean, they do 24-hour days sometimes, and very difficult. And I can just imagine them using like the most basic like technology available at the time in like the 1800s to plow a field. And I think it would take real strength to do this. But like you say, you'd probably live longer because you haven't been exposed to the dirtiness and the conditions of like London, for example, or Manchester.
Right, yeah. If I just think of all the materials they've been using, like beginning of industrialization, nobody knows all that stuff is toxic and killing
Of
people and
course. Yeah, yeah.
like
Yeah,
yeah,
they were
so absolutely
drinking.
horrific conditions.
Yeah. Definitely, and like we said before about like sanitation as well, like just in the
Mm.
street, disgusting, and viruses, disease, just right. I mean, you'd be lucky to make it past 35, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. I think I would probably still prefer Cuba over London.
Yeah, yeah. I'm struggling to pick a favorite time period out of these, to be honest. So I'll have to, I'll go with what the sort of like the joke answer we had. It was modern England with healthcare and human rights. So I guess when you look at all the problems we've discussed, and I think you mentioned it before, even though each time period's not perfect, and even like the countries we're in today have got their issues and flaws, at least you know you're safe in a sense, or you should be safe,
Right.
hopefully. Healthcare as well. Obviously, each country's got their own version of it. I know we've got the NHS here in England, which is overstretched. It's had funding taken away from it, but at the end of the day, it does provide a great service and it's free because it comes out of taxes. So we are very lucky to have it here in the UK. So there's that, and then with human rights as well, I imagine that's something that comes from just over time, people fighting for their rights, and then more and more getting added till you get to like a certain time, which is now, where I guess you have more than ever before.
Right, yeah.
Like for example, the right to vote, which many people had to live and die for. So they literally dedicated their lives to get the vote. You know, if you look at like the suffragettes and the suffragist movements, back in 1930s, I want to say. Yeah, obviously very difficult time for them, and they made their stance. And now, obviously, women can vote, and yeah, it just shows that like history's come a long way, really, from what it was. And if we go even further back in time than that, it's strange because you sort of go full circle because you had like the female pharaohs and everything to like having power to then sort of losing rights and gaining rights. I think that's what happens throughout history in the different time periods is things change, but then they can sort of like go back to where they started, like full circle, but slightly different. But yeah, I think that was an interesting comment, but I am grateful to be living in this time period. I don't know which period I'd pick from the Assassin's Creed games, and maybe it's a game we haven't seen yet, or I don't know. Like, if you think about one thing we haven't really discussed is the threat of war. I mean, like a young man like myself, I could easily get drafted into a war throughout any of
Mhm.
these time periods. So that's
Mhm.
one thing you have a choice of here in 2025.
Right, I haven't even considered that. Well, because I'm probably not about to be drafted in any of those scenarios.
Of course.
But yeah, absolutely. That is a big deal. Like, I mean, also these families breaking apart because and like we were talking about London and industrialization. I mean, literally everybody in that family would have been working, father, mother,
Yeah,
children. Um,
that's a very good point. Yeah.
everybody. And then there's other eras where they have this very like traditional viewpoint of the mother raising the children, and the father like bringing in the money, bringing in the food. um like, but yeah, if there's a war going on, and I think we can't imagine that.
No.
Like, it is as they say, history always repeats itself, because there's always a new generation coming up, with different values. They were raised by different parents, that wanted to raise their children differently than their parents did, and so on, right? It's always that pendulum that swings back and forth. And I think we can't even imagine actual war. Like, I think if you haven't experienced that, it is pretty much impossible. So yeah, as you say, um the longer we're talking about all of these different eras and countries and conditions those people were living in, I think we can be very grateful for the yeah, the conditions we live in. Like just two weeks ago, I had to rush to the hospital and get my appendix removed.
Gosh, yeah.
And
Terrible.
I just now imagine me being in London, like I would literally be dead now. Like, I would just be dead.
Yeah. So
And today it's like not even a big deal. You go there, they're like, okay, that's covered by your insurance. Let's like we're gonna cut you open, all good. Then you stay here for 2 days, and then you're fine to go home, and now everything's all right. Like that is a privilege.
I wanted. I'm glad you mentioned that. Actually, I wanted to go into how that came about, really, and sort of how you knew something was wrong, because that was a real shock for the team.
Yeah.
I imagine for yourself as well. A terrible thing to
Right.
happen.
I mean, that came very, very surprisingly. Like that's not something you expect. Um, so I just started having like a little bit of like belly cramps, like late afternoon, early evening, and I just thought, oh, whatever. Like it wasn't really bad at the time. I was like, oh, I don't know. I had that pizza from the fridge, like maybe it wasn't good or something.
Of course, yeah.
So I was just like, okay, just drink a lot of water. It's gonna be okay tomorrow. But it got progressively worse. Um, until like I didn't sleep that night at all. Like it was so painful. When it's so painful that you don't know, like if you want to lay down, if you want to sit, which side you want to lay on, it just always hurts no matter what you do.
It's horrible.
And I had to throw up several times and all that. So I started Googling, because that's, I guess that's what everybody would do, right? Another
Yeah.
privilege of our time.
Yeah.
So yeah, and actually, because I realized that the left side of my belly was fine. Like I could push on it, but the right side was very hard. And like I would just touch it a little bit and it would hurt like hell. Um, and it said that like when I was just searching for symptoms on Google, it said that if you struggle to lift your right leg because it hurts, that's a very standard symptom of something being wrong with your appendix.
Oh,
Like it,
really?
like it either being inflamed or actually already have bursted, which is what you want to prevent. So you
Wow.
want to go to hospital as soon as possible if you realize something's wrong with the appendix. Um, so yeah, and that was early in the morning. So my dad, when he woke up, he rushed me to the hospital and they made an ultrasound and they were like, "Yep, that's inflamed. You need to have surgery done."
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Just like out of nowhere as well. Like there's no build up to it. It's just like on the day you're like something's not right.
Yeah, like I had absolutely nothing before ever. Um, it just started with very slight like cramps throughout the day, always after I would eat something. So I thought it was what I ate. Maybe it was not good anymore. But it got so bad that I could not walk straight. So I was like, no.
Awful. I
Yeah.
think I read as well that your cats sort of could sense that something was wrong. Is that right?
Oh yeah, they were so cute. I was trying to somehow get comfortable in the bed to lay down or something, and my cats would not leave my side, and they would both sit on my belly and start purring.
Oh,
They've done that
protectors.
before. I had a friend of mine over, and she started when she was at my place, she started to have a really bad migraine, and I just had like slight painkillers, like giving her those, hoping it would help, but it didn't really. And the cats were coming to her and they would like, because she laid down, and they would sit like at her head and start purring. Like they can sense if something's off.
Definitely. There's some
Um,
kind of intuition, isn't there, with animals where they just
Absolutely.
know something's not right.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely think so.
So it's good to hear that you've had some company while going through it. But what sort of like procedure are we talking about? Has it happened already, or is it later down the line? Is there more to come, or is that you in recovery now?
Yeah, no, so when the appendix is inflamed, you want to immediately remove it because the worst thing that can happen is that it bursts because then you have the innards of your bowels floating around everywhere, which
Awful.
causes like the worst infection ever, obviously.
Yeah.
So you want to prevent that. So you want to do something as early as possible. And then it's actually not that bad. Like I was like the cramps were so bad, it was very painful, but I felt immediate relief after the surgery.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so they immediately scheduled a surgery for me. Like I was just in the hospital for like 2 hours and then they got me ready.
Oh, that's so quick as well, like on the day.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was
yeah.
obviously needed because, like you say, there were all these like things that could have happened if it hadn't happened immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Like in that case, I was really glad to just be able to Google something because I was certainly
Yeah.
not thinking of the appendix because like they don't I mean they don't even know what it's there for, right? So they also don't really know why it inflames and why some people have an inflammation, some people don't. There seems to be a little bit of a genetic predisposure, maybe. Like there's families where it happens often, there's families where it happens almost never. Um, but yeah, that's not a rule that generally applies. So yeah, like it came completely out of nowhere for me. It really just clicked for me because I read the symptoms on Google and I was like, this is exactly how I would describe it. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're very glad that obviously you're feeling better now. You're out of hospital because it's just such a horrible time when you're in hospital and you can't really see anyone for long periods of time. And obviously for yourself, it puts your whole life in like perspective, really, because you sort of just sat there in the hospital bed, like, why is this happening to me?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you always just sit there and there's not really much you can do, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I had full anesthesia.
Wow.
Um which I was surprised, but like because I was sleeping a lot the days after. Like I was just so drained and tired.
I bet.
I was
Just the energy gone.
surprised. Yeah, I was surprised how tough it was for the whole body to like I really had to regain energy for several days.
Right. I guess it's major surgery though at the end of the day, isn't it? So, I mean, it will take some time. And how's everything now? Like, can you walk properly again? And I mean, I wouldn't try running, but
Yeah, actually I was surprised because the doctor after the surgery, I mean they obviously check if everything went well, if everything is healing all right. I just have like three small cuts on my belly,
yeah,
and once they're healed up, you're not supposed to really see them anymore. So which is like the newer version of the procedure. There's like an old version where you would have one big cut on the right
yeah.
side of
Like,
your
I
belly.
guess this is similar to like a C-section, isn't it?
Yeah, like
That
that
sort
big
of thing.
cut, that would take
Yeah,
a lot of time to heal because it goes through all the different layers of your
of
skin and
course.
all.
Yeah,
But they
yeah.
did like a different procedure, which is really just three tiny cuts. Um, and yeah, so yeah, actually everything's fine now. As I said, immediate relief after the surgery. Like I went in there with the worst cramps and I went out and it was fine. And
That's amazing.
now it's really just these cuts that need to heal. So, you just put like you just keep it clean, put lotion on it and it's gonna
Mhm.
heal up. Yeah.
Well, we're very glad to have you back, and obviously that you're making a recovery. Take it easy. Don't do too much physically. No going to the gym or anything. I mean, I'm sure the doctors told you all this, but very
But
glad to
that's
see
what
you
I
on
was
that.
surprised about because they were like, so for the next 2 weeks, don't take a bath as long as the wounds are not completely healed. Don't go to the sauna, don't go to the gym. And then I'm like, well, I do go to the gym. Like, how long should I wait? And they're like, oh, I should be all right in 2 weeks. And I was like,
Wow.
2 weeks? I
Yeah,
could not walk straight yesterday.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
You just got rapid healing going on.
Yeah. Well, it's been 2 weeks already, but like, I would not want to go to the gym already now because, yeah, like, I'd rather
Yeah.
wait until it's all properly healed.
I think that's a smart decision, to be honest. So I guess while we're on the topic of future plans, I mean, not gym, but any sort of like future content plans, anything you're working on currently, any sort of games you want to get into, what's next on the cards for Laurie Runs?
At the moment, um, going through the Mass Effect trilogy still. It's 3 games, so I mean, it's a blind playthrough, but what I've been told is that I'm getting closer to the end of Mass Effect 1. And in September, actually, I'm going to be streaming full time because I hit the break with all my clients because I have this big move coming up.
Yes.
Um,
Australia.
right.
Yeah.
So
Very cool.
mid-October, I'm going to be permanently moving from Germany to Australia.
That's
Um,
amazing.
and I'm going to be moving out of the apartment I'm in right now, end of this month, so in 2 weeks, and then just stay with my parents until I fly.
That's incredible. It's such a big
So,
life move as well.
absolutely. So there's a lot of things going on right now.
Yeah.
Like I need to find a new home for the cats.
Oh,
I got a wedding dress and I brought it to the tailor and they cut it too short.
not
So
good.
now I have to find someone to fix that. Like it's all that stuff that you don't ever think you have to deal with.
Yeah. You're really
Um,
battling all sorts of problems then.
yeah. Also, obviously, a lot of paperwork. Especially because I have my own business.
Yeah.
Tax wise, I need to be 100% bulletproof in all the paperwork that I do. Um, so yeah, it's a lot of stuff. But yeah, so September, I'm gonna be streaming every day. Um, and yeah, so because I just have a gaming laptop at the moment because when the PS5 came out, I was like, okay, either get the PS5 or I know I'm going to be traveling. At the time, I was like traveling 6 months throughout the year. So I was like, I might as well just get a gaming laptop that I can take with me.
Cool.
So
Yeah,
I still
portable.
have that. But once I'm finally settled down in Australia, I'm going to get a proper gaming PC. And
Nice. That'd be
then
cool.
and then I'll be able, like with Assassin's Creed Shadows, I was only able to live stream it on lowest graphic settings,
I
which is
see.
not enjoyable all the time. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to get a proper setup and then I'm gonna be playing like the more recent games that require better performance like Cyberpunk 2077 for example.
Well, lots to look forward to there. A big life move on the cards. So, why Australia? Or is this just something you've always dreamed of?
I've always dreamed of moving out of Germany. I always knew I don't want to grow old in Germany. I want to move. I do have family in Australia.
Okay.
My mom's side of the family. So actually, so I went there to visit my uncle and my grandma. And I stayed with them, and then I got to know my now fiance, which is so yeah, which is why now I'm permanently moving there. Um,
Okay. That's
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that'll be here before you know it. Like, I mean, this year's flying by. I mean, 5 minutes ago it was January, and now we're nearly in September.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I guess for you, it's all like the paperwork and the documents and stuff, and you just move the business from Germany to Australia. And I imagine some of your clients will be, I imagine, based in Germany. Will that be okay because you're remote? You can still interact with these clients.
Yeah. So 90% of my clients are German and also based in Germany. So because I've been traveling a lot before, like I would be gone half of the year.
Yeah.
Um, I'm already used to the time difference. And so yeah, like usually once or twice a month, I would have a meeting with my clients just to be talking schedule, timeline, content, and all. Um, which means that usually I have to get up really early at like 4 a.m. or something. But that's like 3, 4 times a month. And because I'm flexible, like, and if I need to, I can just go back to sleep after that. So it's not really a big of a sacrifice. So yeah, it does work. And my clients have already told me that they still want to be working with me. I mean, we've been trying it before, having the distance between us, and it worked well. So I think at the end of the day, it doesn't make that much of a difference. Because right now, like I live in South Germany and most of my clients are all the way up in the north. It's not like we
Okay.
were working personally together before.
Yeah.
That would still be like a 6 hour drive. So,
Brilliant.
yeah, right.
So I wish you all the best with that. And whilst we're on the topic of Australia, I wanted to pitch this that I mentioned a couple episodes ago. Is what if the Assassin's Creed Netflix TV show took place in Australia? I imagine you know a little bit more about it than I do. What do you think that would look like, and what sort of time period would you be interested in if that was to happen? Because for me, it would be the creation of the prison camps in Australia that the British set up, and it'd be some kind of like Templar dynamic. But as someone who's moving to Australia, how would you feel about a setting there for either a game or the TV show?
I was actually thinking of the very same time setting that you just mentioned.
It's cool.
I can definitely also imagine having Aboriginal characters in there, bringing in their culture, potentially bringing also assassin culture,
That's cool.
um, in contrast to the prison camps set up by the Templars. I think that will work really well.
Oh, fab. I'm wishing it into existence. I think I've mentioned it on like every episode since episode 2 now. I'm like, we just need to get some momentum going. Let's pitch
Yes,
this.
I'll be
Everyone,
promoting it. I'll be promoting it. I'll do my best.
thank you. We'll clip this. Every time someone joins on the stream, we get new ideas. So we'll eventually chop it all together and we've got a pitch for the game.
Awesome. Yes.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Laurie. Next week, we have episode 6 with Arshak from Assassin's Creed Landmarks and most recently Gaming Landmarks, which is the new spin off community that he's set up. So amazing. But once again, massive thank you, Laurie. Where can our community members find you?
Yeah, also thank you. That was a lot of fun. I always love talking games and Assassin's Creed. So you can mainly find me. I'm not really on TikTok, as you know by now. If you want to follow my cats, you can go on TikTok. If you want to follow me, best place to meet me would be on Twitch. My username is Laury_runs. Again, at the moment, I play through my first and blind playthrough of Mass Effect. But we've also got other games coming up, and you will also find more of like my private life and all the madness of moving, changing countries, and all of these things. You will find all that on Instagram. My name there is Laura.m. Young, Jung, which is literally German for young. Um, so yeah, that's it. Mainly Twitch and Instagram. That's where you can find me.
And you'll also find Laurie's content here at the ones that came before. So massive thank you, Assassins, for joining us tonight. Sorry once again for the TikTok difficulties. Obviously, Laurie's not at the camera tonight. Every week, TikTok finds a new way of making this more and more difficult, but we power through and we're getting there. So see you next week for episode 6, guys. Thanks, Laurie, and see you soon, Assassins.
Bye.